from. You are the final call of the day.
I am delighted. I am Alacrity from Alabama. So, Mr. Seder, today I wanted to... Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Oh, yes? Oh, okay. All right. So, today I just wanted to change it up a little bit. I'd like to advance a topic that you sort of brought up indirectly last time. And it's a potential reason for... Oh, yes, last time. I called you last time about the minimum wage. Forgive me. I remember it, but obviously you wouldn't because you deal with a lot more people. Oh, okay.
It's just a visceral reaction to your call. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you. And this is the second time I've been the last caller, by the way. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about zoning laws, because you alluded to last time during the minimum wage call that one of the things facing many people today is just increased housing costs and inability to pay rent. So I just wanted to get your take on zoning laws, because in economics, both left and right, many economists agree that zoning laws are detrimental to housing costs and play a great role in...
Are zoning laws detrimental, or are the specific nature, the specific laws that are passed under the rubric of zoning laws?
No, zoning laws.
You could also just say laws are detrimental, right?
No, it's actually zoning laws, and there's...
Like some zoning laws that allow for higher density are that don't allow for higher density are bad. But it's not the existence of zoning laws that are bad. It's that some zoning laws themselves are restrictive in a way that inhibits the ability to build less expensive housing.
Well, yes, I see what you're saying, but there are even some cities with no zoning laws. And to be clear, zoning laws are not building codes. It doesn't have much to do with... It doesn't exactly
I know what zoning laws
are. Okay, yeah, but my point is that...
when you say that people have a problem with zoning laws, I just want to clarify, they don't have a problem with the concept of zoning laws. They have a problem with the specifics in certain instances of those zoning laws when they are too restrictive in terms of allowing more density in certain areas.
Well, yeah, but that's not the only one. Like, there are other things, like, closely related, like area ratios and stuff like that, that are more restricted. But no, the very concept of zoning laws, that can actually still be detrimental. For example, in Houston, it has no zoning laws, but it's one of the few cities where incomes rise faster than rents. So, no, I'd argue that you don't really need zoning laws. And I have empirical evidence.
I mean, that might be a correlation. Yeah, do you know the difference between cause and...
yes, I do.
Something's causal and what's correlated, right?
Yes, and that is just one piece of evidence that I wish to advance. But again, since we seem to... Like, I just am trying to figure out the degree to which we would disagree. Like, for example, what do you think is... I'm just not sure how to advance. Like, what zoning laws would you oppose? Like, what places do you think have too many zoning laws?
I don't know that there is such a thing as having too many zoning laws.
Oh, okay. Well, I have some empirical evidence.
There is a thing as the zoning laws are deployed in a way that don't achieve what my desired results would be.
Yes,
So
and what I mean by too many is that...
I think there are
Mr.
places
Seat.
that are that don't allow for maybe multiple house dwellings in some rich areas, like where you're not allowed to have two families in a home, or in some instances, perhaps the zoning laws require too much acreage so that it doesn't allow for density or parking. Or there are zoning laws that don't allow things to be built up because ostensibly to maintain the character of the neighborhood, but it's really a way of people doing some NIMBY. Look, it is a function of the specific zoning law. It's just like the concept of a government being too big or too small. That's silly talk. That doesn't mean anything.
Well, actually, no. There have been studies about it. For example, this one economic study, it just was looking at just the sheer amount of zoning laws and all kinds of things that they can do. For example, this one study found that just for 3 cities, that if they adopted the median level of zoning regulation, that we would have GDP growth of 8.9%. So no, the sheer amount of zoning laws can also impact it. Like, for example, just the amount of strictures, the amount of compliance, all that plays a role in the cost of housing and other things. So I see what you're saying about different zoning laws having different effects, but no, this point still stands that just there can be too many zoning laws, and we do have disagreements over that. So I just don't quite see what you're saying, because this is a big issue. Like, it's one of the main reasons why housing costs so much in many metropolitan areas. So, like, this is a very important issue, and I see what you're saying, but I don't think it's as trivial as your characterization seems to imply. I can't hear Miss Vigeland, by the way. I can't hear. Are you still talking?
Miss Vigilant?
Is that not how her name is pronounced? How is it pronounced?
I think that is indicative of a problem that we have here. So I guess maybe you have cited a study where the sheer number of zoning laws, honestly, maybe if you, in a sample size of 3 cities, the sheer number of zoning laws has an impact on the thing. Yeah, I think it is almost impossible for me to imagine that if you gave me the opportunity to choose 3 cities, that I couldn't come out with a result that I could tailor based upon my choosing of 3 cities.
No, that's not how this.
Zoning laws that don't exist or for anything.
No, that's not how. No. That's not how the study worked, Mr. C. That's not how the study worked. That's not how the study worked. What they were talking about is they were looking at levels of zoning regulation, and they found that in 3 cities, if they adopted the median level of zoning regulation, the median level nationally, that if they adopted that, we'd have GDP growth of 8.9%. But they didn't look at just pick 3 cities.
I mean, like I say, the idea of like a generic zoning law being a problem is just absurd to me.
Well, I just don't see why you're defending it, because there are places that don't even have them.
But why wouldn't you just say, why say zoning laws? Why not just say why not just say the number of laws?
Because, again, that particular study, it was just talking about levels of regulation. I can't quite remember how they measured it. But obviously,
regulation is the number of laws. Why make it exclusive to zoning?
Because the number of laws impacts the cost of compliance. It also impacts just the sheer amount of things you have to account for. That also increase other costs, like legal costs and other things.
Why would the cost of compliance inhibit the GDP?
Because if they have to
comply, right? I mean, it creates economic activity.
Because you're not considering opportunity cost. Because the money that they need to spend on compliance and the time.
Cost is associated with GDP.
Well, yes, because if you're. Because if no, Sam, see, Mr. Seder.
If my camera gets stolen, I go buy a new camera. The GDP goes up.
No, it still goes up. My point is that if you have to spend money on less productive activities, that takes time and money away from more productive activities that you can focus on.
But it's not computed.
That absolutely does.
GDP.
Well, I don't know how they did the study, but it was also meant to forecast what would happen if they adopted the median level.
Look at the study
So that doesn't.
Tell me.
No, Mr. Seder.
Apply to the just number of laws.
This is besides the point, though, Mr. Seder.
I am sure that we could find some measure of agreement that there are some zoning laws that are bad and are contrary to what we want, to what end game we want.
I just don't see why you're defending them at all, though, because there are places that have no zoning laws and they do just fine and even do better, and there's empirical evidence that
you say has no zoning laws. Houston, I'll take your word for it. And I don't
fucking suck.
Sorry, I have to say a quick.
Yeah, but
This is Revolution says to be. Can you hear me, Colin?
yes.
This is Revolution says to be more precise, Houston doesn't exactly have official zoning, but it has what Vesta calls de facto zoning, which closely resembles the real thing.
Oh.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the de facto zoning. When you talk about de facto zoning, what does that even mean? Does that mean that, like, if there's no governmental body saying that there needs to be land apportioned this way for this use and this use, then that's the entire point. Yes, of course, there's still going to be de facto arrangements, but that's beside the point that I'm trying to make. My point is that you don't really need
those arrangements.
Again, my point is I don't know what you mean by de facto zoning laws. Like, I don't know. Like, what's the study you're talking about? Like, what do you mean de facto zoning laws? Because I have addressed Houston.
You want to posit that the existence of a city in this country that does not have zoning laws that are propagated by a city council or any type of like local agency yet has a good relationship between rent and wages, is evidence that that you want me to declare that zoning laws are bad because of that.
No, I'm just
I
providing you
don't think I can tell
empirical
you
evidence
it's
of
a
that.
answer.
That was not my position. My point is that I can advance empirical. What? Well, I was trying to show him the empirical evidence. So, okay, that was a bit aggressive.